I am doing something or the other every year. These 21st century skills, it is not a rocket science.
Hello and a very warm welcome to Great Principles. I am Seema Choria. We bring to you another legendary figure from the world of Indian academia. Her struggles through childhood and passion to make a difference make her achiever, and the strong leadership skills make her one of the top-notch educators in the country today. She has been awarded the Best Dynamic Educationist of the Year by the Media Federation of India for her outstanding service and exceptional contribution. The Global Education Summit felicitated her recently. She also won the Avantika Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Award 2018 as one of the best 50 principals in India. In April 2019, she was recognized as the best innovative principal. She have also been awarded with the most innovative education leadership award in July 2020. She's a compassionate person, one who knows empathy. She understands the imperfections of nature and strives to compensate by enabling these lonely warriors to live better lives. My dear viewers, many of us are women, careerists who juggle many roles and sometimes struggle to achieve perfections. I'm sure our guest today shall lead us out of our catch 22 situations. Come join me in conversation with Dr. Vasudha Nilmani, principal at Rockwoods International School, Udaipur. Welcome to Great Principles, ma'am. It's an honor to have you here.
Thank you so much. Likewise, it's a pleasure to be part of this wonderful journey. Thank you so much.
So to begin with, ma'am, as I told that, we women are always expected to do multitasking. So you being an educator, a writer, author, speaker, and of course, a respected, renowned public figure, which everyone, crave to be. How do you manage so many roles and how do you multitask?
It is, I don't think whether it is multitasking or not, but I strongly believe in the principle of taking one step at a time. And once an individual decides something to do, so one must give 100% to that. So for me, in my dictionary, I don't have time. This sentence does not exist because I will be doing the things that I am passionate about, and I will be giving my 100% to the things I am passionate about. So yes, and when I procrastinate as a principal also, and as a human being also, I know where I am procrastinating. So I don't keep things to the next day. What I have decided for myself to do during the day, I tend to finish that during that time. If for that I have to work 18 to 19 hours a day also, I'm okay with that. But yes, I take one step at a time, and I take my days goals, what I have decided for myself. So I strive to achieve those goals for the day. So that helps me a lot. But as you said, multitasking, yes, I cook for the family. I take care of the family during these times. But I have divided my time in such a way that I have to give time to my child. I have to give time to the family. I have to give time to my friends. I have to read. I have to travel. I have to shop. So I don't compromise on my things that I love to do, and I don't compromise on my work. I don't compromise on my studies. So I would like the viewers to know that for past so many years now, past 11, 12 years, I am doing something or the other every year. So last year during the pandemic, I completed my course in career coaching with CCSP Mindler USA. Now this year, my challenge is that I am on my journey to become a PCC level executive life coach with ICF US. So I have my classes thrice in a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 to 8. I have my assignments, I have my assessments, and I juggle it around with my day-to-day work, what I do. Yes.
Wow, ma'am, this is incredible. So we all have 24 hours in a day, but it's all about how well do we manage it and utilize it.
Absolutely.
So, ma'am, today only I got this wonderful pie chart which said that on one figure there was hard work that leads you to success. On one figure, it was divided: hard work, leisure time, family, me time, exercise. This all couple leads you to success. And I think this stands so true in your case. You get success when you divide your time. It's not just putting hard work, and you will reach to that level.
See, it's a smart work also. It's just not the hard work, it's the smart work. And I think if your vision, if your efforts, if your mind and your heart are at the right place, and you're giving your 100%, you will achieve it. I mean that's I think that was my thing. Maybe I was a very docile and introvert child in my childhood, but during that time also, whatever I had decided in my mind to do and achieve, I used to strive for that. And it's same is the case right now also. Whatever I have decided to do, I make up my mind and I do that. Yes.
So determination with efficient time management and smart work. All three
Mhm.
couples will lead us to success. So all the women out there, yes, we are expected to take care of the family also,
Of
and
course.
also on a professional front. So
Absolutely. Family is the first priority. For me, my family comes first. More than myself, my family comes first. Yes.
wonderful. So this is how we can all plan our day and have a better setup for everyone in our daily routine. So going ahead, ma'am, your school, Rockwood International School, what is the philosophy of this school and what makes it unique?
See, my Rockwood's International School is a Cambridge affiliated school. And there is not only one feature that makes it unique, there are many of them, uh, that makes us stand where we are. So we are a group of 3 schools. So our mother school is a 30-year-old school called Central Public School. We have another school called Rockwood's High School, and mine is the Rockwood's International School with Cambridge curriculum. But one thing is very, very predominantly common and makes us unique is our ethos that says that there is a sense of belongingness in each one of us. That attitude of gratitude is always there for each one of us. And besides that, our school has unique 8 principles, from the emotional development to um, spiritual development to physical development, language development, one skill and routine and habit. So all these 8 things, 8 principles that we have divided, we are dedicating our each month to that activity. And in addition to that, in Rockwood's International School, I have added 2 more things that we stand for and that we do. So one is called the Global Studies curriculum, which I have designed for my students, and that is a thematic based curriculum, a cross curricular curriculum, where and it was appreciated by um, the Wise India Foundation, and I was awarded as a Global School Leader Award for the same, with which I shared the award with Sonam Wangchuk also at that time, because this curriculum is something wherein every year I pick up a theme. So last year it was Leader in Me theme. Last year was Nobel Peace Laureates, and this year is Women Empowerment. And what we are doing is that it is the students are learning about those particular personalities, their struggles, so their historical background, where they live, so their culture. So they are covering history, they are covering geography, they are covering art and design, the famous quotes by the people whom we pick up. Then there are elocutions, there are debates, there is art and design. So all the subjects are combined into that. And children, so a grade 3 child is discusses about gender stereotypes, or a grade 6 or 7 child talks about how women empowerment is different from feminism. So all these things, so that is one very, very important and very unique thing that I do. And the second is the gratitude curriculum that I inculcate in my children. My book called Gratitude, the Purpose of Life is actually inspired by when I was, igniting my little minds with gratitude exercises, and I designed the gratitude curriculum for them. So there was, when being a avid follower of gratitude and practicing gratitude, I came to know, and when I was going through different gratitude journals or different exercises, whether it was secret, whether it was magic, so there was nothing which was for a 2-year-old or a three-year-old child. It was all for adults. So I had to design something which could cater to from a 3-year-old to a 80-year-old. So therein, so we practice these gratitude exercises every day, and our chairperson, Mrs. Alka Sharma, also talks about the same attitude of gratitude with all of us, and the same is followed by the director, Mr. Deepak Sharma, who's our director. So yes, there is a sense of freedom and responsibility and accountability that is being given to us, and it percolates down. So there is a very, very cordial and transparent environment amongst the teachers, staff, management. So that makes us a very, very strong team, and that makes us very, very unique, because in the tough times, when we are having those tough times, so they stand by us emotionally, morally, physically, financially, they are all there. So I had a little a personal incident I can share, that on 27th April and 29th April, I lost my both mother-in-law and father-in-law to COVID. But here was my team, my management, they stood strong beside me, and that they were the only reason that I could bounce back to work within a week. So it's not that all the school owners and management, they need to understand that when we are nurturing young minds, because schools, we are creating young leaders, schools, we are working on the next generation. So when we are not compassionate towards our own team members, then we cannot expect to raise compassionate children. So that the family atmosphere, the blend of personal and professionalism makes us very, very unique. And this percolates down to all the staff members, all the students, all the didis, bhaiyas, ancillary staff. So we on like if it is 1st May, where we don't call it a Labor Day, but we call it an Ancillary Staff Appreciation Day. So we actually, we have inculcated these values, that when the times were right, so my students used to cook for them. We used to honor them, we used to appreciate them. So these are the things that we need to inculcate in the students. And I think these are the things that makes Rockwood's family stand apart, very, very, very apart, I would say.
A wonderful school with an amazing philosophy, imbibe an attitude of gratitude, be compassionate towards your team, so that
Yes.
the students. So I think this is very much needed to be practiced by every school. It's not, it's a teamwork. And
It's a teamwork.
leader can only function when he have a team which has full faith on them. They all work together. So definitely, ma'am, a wonderful school, and such a holistic development of a child is happening, where they are learning through living examples. I can't imagine, a 2-year-old, 4-year-old child talking about women empowerment. It's something, 4th standard child, sorry, it's something very, very different to understand. And, this make them research and yearn to learn more.
Yeah,
So
absolutely true.
So going ahead, ma'am, the school is already taking a lot of steps in developing children holistically. So now I would like to ask you, these days we are talking a lot about 21st century skills, and aisa hona chahiye, this skill should be taught to children. So what is this 20th century skills all about, and how can we teach them, our students, the skills?
See, I don't call them 21st century skills. I call them timeless skills these days, because the illiterates of Alvin Toffler has rightly said that, the illiterates of 21st century are not those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. So when we are talking about 21st century skills, or my timeless skills, so they are, whether it is collaboration, whether it is communication, whether it is creative thinking or critical thinking, or cooperation, or now I think a new thing is added, fixed versus growth mindset. So unless and until school leaders are imbibing these skills in themselves, how can they deliver? I had learned long ago, we can deliver only those skills that we have in ourselves, because these 21st century skills, it is not a rocket science, or it is not a magic wand that I say abracadabra and it will be, but we have to live by examples. We have to teach them. So this global studies curriculum, it actually focuses a lot on these skills, because when they are wearing their thinking caps on, and talking about gender biases, or talking about they had actually re-scripted I Have a Dream by Martin Luther King, when they were learning about Martin Luther King. So a grade a grade 1 child or grade 2 child writing about their dreams, and or penning down their own biography and autobiography in the simple sentences at those days. So you have to, whatever we need to teach students, or we want them to imbibe the skills, we have to give them an experience of that. So that's why this particular curriculum I designed myself. I spent hours and hours of research every month, and we go each month. So now next month my students are going to learn about the first Indian women teacher, with her counterpart in the West, and how their journeys. So whatever the journey is, whatever the activities are, I design those activities, and then the team just has to imbibe it, or follow it. So yes, so this is something very close to my heart. And I strongly believe that whatever we want to teach our children, we must possess those skills, because we are the role models, and give them an experience of it. Slowly and steadily they will learn it. And believe me, this is called Gen Z kids generation. This generation knows much more than us, so we have to accept that they know more than us, and we have to be a companion traveler with them in their journey, rather than just being teachers and they considering them as students.
Absolutely, ma'am. So, I have one thing to ask you here, that this global curriculum, is it available only for Rockwood International School students, or other schools can take a benefit of this?
Only for Rockwood's International students, because we have a copyright with that, because this is something that makes us stand apart, that makes us unique. Yeah.
So I think whatever ma'am shared here on this platform, I think that is where school and other educators, you can just understand the philosophy of this curriculum. I think it must be very deep. And as ma'am said, she has spent hours in designing it. I don't know how people are going to, create something similar. It will be very difficult for them, since it is not available for every student. But yes, there is a lot to learn from this. And I would request every educator to plan out something, these type of lesson plans for their students also, so that they can, get all these 21st century skills. So a wonderful curriculum designed by you, ma'am. Hats off to you for putting in so much efforts.
Thank you.
So going ahead, ma'am, now there is, a part along with a great curriculum, the technology has become a very much facilitator in terms of learning. So what is your take? How has technology changed education today?
A lot. a lot. I mean, I am a big supporter and a pro person of technology, because I was the one of the first very few school leaders in where in around 2012 2013, when I was the principal of my then school in Faridabad. So we were the first school in the country to have the blend of Apple education and Microsoft education. So we had the best of both worlds. So I strongly feel that if you have to make teachers independent, you have to strengthen them. So technology is the key. And going back to the memory lane last year, when the first lockdown was announced, when my daughter's school were also shut from 15th of March, and our schools here in Udaipur also were closed around 15th, 16th of March. By 18th of March, Rockwoods International was the first school in Udaipur to start online classes, because from 15th March till 3 days, me and my team worked tirelessly, creating Zoom links. We did pilot teaching modules amongst ourselves, and 18th we rolled it. Though we did not know this will be the only medium of education for us. And see, I strongly feel that there are so much benefits of this. The whole world has come to our system, our devices, whether it is mobiles, whether it is laptops, iPads, tablets, like you and I, there is no barrier of the place. We are not meeting physically, but we are connected to each other. So yes, technology is and I have always believed that whenever there is new invention, new innovation, it has the pros and cons, but I think we must focus on the positives. We must focus on the things that we can learn, and students can learn what we can derive out best, and of course just ignore the negatives, and make ourselves very comfortable and strong. And we have to change with the world. We have to evolve. I mean, evolution of a school leader is also a part of it. So you cannot progress. You have to be progressive. So you cannot progress until you evolve. So yes, and technology plays a greater role, major role here.
Absolutely, ma'am. Very rightly said. The change is only constant thing now. So we all need to change and accept the technological inventions that are coming in and embrace the technology. Now that classroom is in the technology. Earlier, technology was in the classroom. Now it's supposed that now classroom is in the technology. So it's very much required by all the educators and teachers to embrace it and look at the positive impact of it. So as we were talking about technology, ma'am, yes, we may see a future wherein robots are teaching, but will they be able to imbibe value? Value plays a very huge role in education, ma'am. So how important and relevant is value-based education in today's challenging times?
See, robots cannot teach, okay? Teaching has to be done by humans, because when a teacher is teaching the child, there is lot of emotions attached. There is lot of emotional connect being there. So when we are talking about during these times also, when there is a lot of online teaching happening, so there are 5 to 7 minutes, where teacher is asking about the well-being of the children. Teacher is asking, how the day has been so far. There is a special once in a week we have a special session where the teacher and students are just having heart-to-heart conversations. So no one can replace a teacher, and I strongly feel robots cannot teach. That's why teacher is there. And of course, talking about of course, when I'm talking about attitude of gratitude, or when I'm talking about sense of belongingness, it is to inculcate the values in our children. It is a very strong value-based curriculum, because when we are talking about, if a child will not know to appreciate what a teacher is doing, or forget about the teacher, what his parents have been doing for him, what is the what is the importance of the friend in his life, what is the importance of food in his life. So where the food he or she, a child, is eating, from where it is coming. It is coming, if the farmers are not there, who's going to get the food to the houses, or the breath of fresh air that we are taking. They don't even think of paying a gratitude to the breath of fresh air. So these things are very, very important, and that's why it is important to inculcate these things from a very young age to the children. Because these days, see, we all are working very hard for our children. They don't know what scarcity is. They don't know the meaning of what no is, because they are born with silver spoons. In a way, ACs are available. If a power cut is there, power backup is available. So they don't have the value of the thing. So you have to teach them the value of money. You have to teach them the value of actually value of being content, and value of appreciating what they are having, which I think I was not having at my age. We had to really struggle through to the things which are now the necessities in life. So this is of imperative and paramount significance that our children know they appreciate what they have. They pay gratitude to their parents. They pay gratitude for all the facilities they are having. So, and that will lead to abundance in future.
Ma'am, a very, very powerful message you have shared here, and which every parent is experiencing. As you said, our children have everything ready-made. Before they demand it, they have it. They are born with silver spoons, right? And yes, it's true that, they don't value things now. They have everything. You talk about one toy, they have 20.
Absolutely.
So still they are not contented. So the feeling of satisfaction, the feeling of gratitude, all this is missing, and they are not valuing what they have. And yes, one more thing very rightly said by ma'am, technology can never replace teachers. Technology will be a toolbox in the hand of teachers, but it can never take a position. So a beautiful message shared by ma'am here on value education. Going ahead, ma'am, you have a long list of achievements and accomplishments. So what have been the biggest accomplishment you are proud of in your career?
It has not yet come, to be very honest. I'm very happy with the small milestones that I have achieved. I don't know what will be the greatest accomplishment, but yes, when I see my children doing well, when I see my students doing well, when my children are actually talking at home that my principal ma'am has said this, so I cannot do this. I think these are the things, and when their parents say that, okay, now you have to go and listen to your ma'am, and you have to follow what ma'am is saying. So I think these are the things, if my children and parents have that, I am in their thoughts, I am in their hearts. So I think that is good enough for me. All these awards, all these things, these are secondary. Yes, I have a mission, and I have a dream to spread the my gratitude curriculum in each and every nook and corner of the world. And that is my giving back to the society, because this is something I learned from my father. So this is a tribute to him. So I think the greatest accomplishment or the greatest achievement is still awaited. But all these things are very, very, very minor milestones, and after some time nobody remembers. So I want to be remembered as a compassionate human being, not as someone with loads of awards or clothes or achievements. Yeah.
Definitely, ma'am. This gratitude curriculum, which ultimately develops global citizen, is no less than an accomplishment. If, as I said earlier also, if every school adopts this, then there will be an absolute game-changing thing that we'll be seeing here. So all the best with your accomplishment, and I'm sure it is very soon coming to you because you are working very hard towards it. So
I'm
going ahead,
sure.
ma'am,
Thank
on
you.
this note and all the on the well wishes, we reach to the very interesting segment of the show, which is called rapid fire round. You have to
Mhm.
answer precisely in one word or so here goes the first question. Name
Yeah.
three qualities in potential school leaders that we never had before.
So I feel that school leaders they never considered themselves to be learners before. So that's one. School leaders have taken the role of collaborators. They have taken the role of I would not, I mean, they have become the brand ambassadors of their school. Earlier, school principals were just confined to deliver the curriculum and move ahead, but they are the ambassadors of their school now. And very, very greatest, I think, to learn, unlearn, and relearn. That defines a progressive school principal. Yeah.
All right. So very rightly said by ma'am, the three qualities which we never had: a learner, a collaborator, a brand ambassador, and learn and relearn and unlearn. So these are the qualities which we are looking for in the coming future school leaders. Next question, ma'am. Name a school principal you admire the most.
Okay, I have this wonderful school leader who has been my inspiration and mentor. He's none other than Dr. Jappreet Singh of Doon School. He and I have been associated for past 7-8 years when he was the headmaster of PPS Nabha. So yes, so I admire him the most. Yeah.
Next question. Technology connects us more or isolates us more?
You got my answer. Of course, it connects us more. I told earlier also, yes.
Absolutely. What is one thing that you would like to change about the present generation?
As I told you, I would want this present generation to be more positive and compassionate. They take stress too easily, too quickly, and they don't value things. So yes.
All right. Next question. Do marks matter to be successful?
No. I am the live example, so marks don't matter.
All right. So here comes the last question of this segment. Who should choose the career of a child, parents or children?
I think it's a teamwork. Both of them have to decide that. And with the latest technology and latest, so there was a research which says that we need lakhs of career coaches for our students, but we have in few thousands. So right kind of guidance with right psychometric assessments, and a parents and child both should be the partner in the journey to decide the career of a child.
All right. So, a teamwork of parent and child together is the right way to choose a
So
career.
here I will just share a quote written by me that let your children dream. Don't don't live your dreams through your children. Maybe their dream are bigger than yours, so let them dream. So I had written this quote long ago when one of my parents said that she wanted to be a doctor, and she couldn't be a doctor, so she wants the child to pursue the dream. And other mother said that I am doing law because I want that both mother and daughter, or mother and son, should do the law together. So at that time, these thoughts had come, and I had written this quote.
Very beautiful quote written by ma'am here, and it also motivates us to celebrate the uniqueness, the individuality of our children. We should
Absolutely.
not look at them as our own images. Our own shadows. All right. So this brings to me now to the other section of the show, ma'am. We have known you on professional front. You work a lot. I mean, there are so many. You are a multifaceted personality. So, what are the sports or hobbies you are involved in, and how do they help you?
I love shopping. I love shopping with my daughter. So that's my favorite pastime. We both mother daughter just go out. Of course, I love traveling. I love listening to music. I read. I write. I play badminton. So these are the things. Those are my hobbies. But yes, traveling and just going out to eat with family, my Sundays. So yeah, so these are my things. And of course I cannot sleep without having a book in my hand. So I read a lot. I'm a voracious reader. So yeah, reading, writing, listening to music, all these things. So I'm a very when it comes to the simple things. So I love what any woman would enjoy to do: shop, eat, unwind, relax. So all these things, yes. And I find time for all these things also, because these are very close to my heart, because unwinding is very important. Yeah. Finding time for yourself is very important. Yes.
I was just wondering when you were telling about your hobbies, how do ma'am find time for all this when she's working so much? So yes,
No, but I do. Because that otherwise, I think otherwise, a person loses the charm to look for towards the next day. So you have to keep few moments of yourself. I get up very early, so I meditate at 3:30, 4 o'clock. So that's my time. 4:30 I walk. My meditation, my healing, and everything works during that time, and that is my kickstart of the day. And during that time only I flip some books, or towards the night when I'm just about to retire for the day. So at that time, so morning are my music mornings, my maybe some devotional songs, or my some favorite songs during that time. So yeah, so I manage it well. That's fine.
here we have Basudha ma'am, who believes in managing time very well. So as you know, she gets time to unwind from her daily routine and then again focus with the double energy and kickstart her day. So going ahead, this brings to me to the last question of the day. It is also called viewer's choice question, ma'am. As you mentioned that your school is a Cambridge curriculum school, and you have also designed a gratitude curriculum. In schools in India, we've seen a dynamic shift to the international programs like IB, IGCSE. So what is your opinion? Is switching from ICC, CBSE and state boards to an international curriculum, is it a wise move?
Of course it is. Of course it is a wise move. There are many state governments also who are trying to make this move. It was in the newspaper also a few days ago, because we have to move ahead with the time. And where the Cambridge curriculum, or the IB curriculum, what are the international curriculum, they focus a lot on the three aspects: acquisition of knowledge with understanding and application. That is very important. And they update their curriculum after every 2 to 3 years. Their curriculum changes. So we have to be progressive in our approach. Though I am not saying that national curriculums are not doing it, they are towards that journey, which these international boards, the Cambridge boards, have already achieved. So of course, it is a very wise decision. And there are many private school owners, and there's a very private school managements. They are walking the path of the international curriculum.
So it's always a wise decision to borrow what is good from the West and adopt it for
Absolutely. And ultimately, we have to see what's the best for children.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we are ultimately, we are the architects, schools, the school management, all are building, they are the architects of nation. So they are
Yeah.
building future generation. So it's definitely a wise move to borrow what is good and devise it in the framework of Indian setup. So
Yes.
really a very thoughtful answer here that yes, it is a wise decision. So Vasudha ji, I think, today you made me realize that I can be a good parent as well as a better professional. So thank you so much for, telling me
Thank you
that
so much.
in yourself, you can achieve everything in life. So
Absolutely,
and
we
for the
can.
time, it was really a very insightful session. It was really wonderful
Thank
talking
you.
to you and knowing you.
Thank you so much. Same here. Same here. All the best, Seema. Thank you. Thank you so much.